for our eclipse tip section, we have a game for you. This is the solar flare and coronal mass ejection game. We mentioned earlier that the chances of a coronal mass ejection actually hitting the Earth is pretty slim. So in this game, we have a slingshot, which represents a solar flare. We have a sponge ball or a Nerf ball that represents our coronal mass ejection, and we have these stress balls that are in the shape of Earths that represent the Earth, obviously. And so the game is to try and launch Nerf balls at the Earth and to try and hit the Earth.
Coronal mass ejections, or CMEs, are large blobs of charged solar material and magnetic field that get ejected away from the surface of the sun. Solar flares are different from coronal mass ejections, although they do often happen at the same time. Any solar flare that occurs on the disk of the sun that's facing the Earth can reach the Earth, since light is emitted out in all directions, pointing away from the sun. Coronal mass ejections are directed outward from the surface of the sun in one direction. The CME will only hit Earth if it's in the direct path. So the Earth takes about half a degree of the full 360 degrees surrounding the sun, so this is a little bit less likely. Both solar flares and CMEs can have a big impact at Earth. They can also have a damaging effect on GPS and communication satellites, rendering these unreliable. Okay, for this activity, you're going to need a slingshot, safety goggles, foam balls as well there, stress earth ball, scissors, some tape, paper clips, Sharpie, cup, the nice lip on it. If you're doing the activity with magnetism, you're going to want some of these small neodymium magnets, about 8 of those, as well as a nice Alnico bar magnet. For this activity, we're going to be shooting some coronal mass ejections at the Earth, in this case, the foam earth ball, as well as a little satellite, which I have printed off from some clip art on the internet. You could draw one if you don't have access to a printer, and we're going to set it up on the cup. So now we want to modify our foam balls into coronal mass ejections. So it'll be clear what they are. So I'm just going to write CME on here, and if you want to, you might want to put some little pluses and minuses on here just to let people know that this is made out of charged particles. Let's see what we got. If you want to do the magnetic version of this activity, you're going to start with your foam earth and your long Alnico bar magnet. So what I did was, just in the bottom, I cut a small hole, and then because the foam is soft, you can pretty much just put your magnet right through there. Make sure the north end of your bar magnet is at the North Pole here, just for reality's sake. So next, we're going to need to make a magnetic coronal mass ejection. So start with your regular non-magnetic coronal mass ejection and your stack of little 1/4-inch neodymium magnets. So we are going to affix these to the outside of the CME so that they stick to our Earth. And with your scissors, you're going to go ahead and just cut a small hole in the surface of your coronal mass ejection. And then you can take your little magnet and just stick it in there. If you have super glue, you can try that, but I went ahead and just used some tape here, small amount of tape, and just cover up that magnet with the tape so that it stays in place. So if you do that enough times, you'll have a little CME that looks like this. This one has 8 of those small neodymium magnets inside of it. So for the magnetic version of this activity, you're going to want to affix your bar magnet and earth combination to the wall or some other convenient surface. And then you'll have your participants use the magnetic coronal mass ejection and attempt to connect to the earth. So here we go. Oh.
So hopefully that will be a helpful way of engaging kids during your Eclipse event, or helping them to understand the differences between a coronal mass ejection and a solar flare in the future. As always, if you would like to hear more from us, please feel free to get in touch. You can find us on Twitter at @NatSolarObs. You can get us on Facebook at National Solar Observatory. And we now have an Instagram account at National Solar Observatory on Instagram.